Next. Thank you. There's something in this.
I didn't know that.
That argument.
Where's your husband? He showed up.
He doesn't do. Yeah, somebody has. Next, huh? Yeah.
Oh. Turn back.
Oh,
How are you?
good. How are you?
Oh. I got a friend that
Yes.
you know, seriously, you know, that- looking for my own. Yeah. Let's call a meeting order and. We stand for the pledge of allegiance. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Jamie Melky,
Here.
Tom Graham,
Here.
Wendy Reeve,
Here.
Jeannie Benjamin,
Here.
and Kathy Macho.
Here.
We do have a quorum.
Yeah, anybody in the audience like to speak? It's a good time.
Thank you. Gail Brown, 251 East Main Street. And I'm the chair of the DDA. And we had a meeting on February 11th. I just want to give the city council an update on what we discussed. So the first thing is we approved the contract with DC Painting for the lampposts. That is $30,000 total. The payment schedule is $7,500 deposit, which we paid out in spring of 2025 when this process was started. $7,500 deposit when the contract is signed. $2,500 when they paint the first 3 lampposts, and lastly, $12,500 due upon project completion. And I just want to note that in the DDA budget, it included that city council approved there's a contribution of $15,000 towards this amount. And I do want to I want to quote what they wrote, and I'm going to read that. And it is, our schedule is essential for our business. Please be aware that deposits are non-refundable, even if the city of Harbor Springs DDA encounters internal issues. DC Painting cannot be held responsible for any disputes that may delay. Simple, makes sense. Okay. And then lastly, we approved the proposal from Beckett and Rader to develop the master streetscape, which we're excited about. It is the cost will be 22,000, not to exceed $22,500. So we have not signed that contract yet, but we are prepared to do that. And it will be the deliverable of having that master plan will be on or before August 26th. So we are moving forward. Any questions or anything? No? Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Becky Goodman, I'm the DDA director. As Gail did mention, we did approve the contract for the lamp post training at the DDA meeting. I'm here tonight because I'm gonna be the one that signs it. And I just want to make sure that we have total concurrence before I do that. And the things I want to talk to you about, I want to be sure. 3 colors, that's what we decided last time. Okay, and the voting will be open to anyone who can visit the site and register with the QR code. Okay. In order to satisfy the painting contract, see, I have these dates written down. We need to, the voting will continue through July. Then the DDA will, this enhancement committee will meet on August 5th. They'll make a recommendation based on everything that they've learned to the DDA at their August meeting, and then, which is August 12th, and then the city council would then be meeting on August 17th. We would need to get concurrence from them. Now, that's a fast timeline, but if we're gonna start at Labor Day, you know, what happened last year, it got too cold and we couldn't get painting. So I need you to be aware of that. I talked about that last time when I was here in my memo, but I just need to see nods around the room. Everyone is aware of that. And I also need to be clear now, that the direction the DDA got from city council last fall was, that they would not authorize the project until a survey was conducted. Now, to me and to the DDA, and it's as far as we move forward, we're conducting the survey, we're putting all of the other pieces together that you asked for. I just want to be clear, because sometimes I'm not sure that everyone reads this way. The way I have proceeded at the beginning, this isn't a vote of whoever wins, whatever color wins. The DDA will take all of that information, put it together, and they will make a recommendation based on that. But we will have done the survey, we've done the homework, and obviously that will carry a lot of weight. Another good reason that you'll see where these people are from. Are they day trippers? Are they afternoon visitors? Are they resorters? Do they live here? What's their address? You know, all of that. So I just wanted to make sure that you understood that's the way the process that we're taking. You heard what Gail said. This company was very, very good to us. And no need to credit us back for the 7,500 that we didn't spend last year. But they did, and they did it happily. So, but they're not going to do it again. So no more deposits are going to be refunded. Any questions? Cool.
Yes, I
very much.
do have a question, but I think it's for Nick. They asked for council to give money to this project, but I don't believe that council approved of it in our budget to give the money. And so I just want to make sure that that's like, would that be an amendment?
Yes, if we did not, and I'd have to check, Jamie, but I may have included a dollar amount in there.
Okay,
But if not, and it came to fruition and that's how the contract worked out and we were done and said, it would be an amendment to the budget.
Okay. Thank you.
Good evening, Aaron Goppigan, Houston Road. Just a quick bit of feedback. For those of us who have our power brought in from the city of Harbor Springs, I think February 3rd, we lost power. Dan Huey and his team are just incredible. Those guys, I called within an hour, power was back and restored. So I can't say enough good things about those guys. I know we've heard of, we hear this before, we've heard it in the past. They're just incredible. So that's my feedback. Thanks to the team.
Thank you, because that was a crucial day because actually, Dr. Court back here with the school, like they were on the phone with me as well, and they have students at school without any power, so I will relay that to Huey and the crew.
He did a great job. And I think you said a tree fell on a line or something.
And actually what they did to resolve that was they rerouted the power. They still had to, they worked up there all day long to get that, but they were able to reroute the power in order to get everybody back up to speed. So
See, that's the kind of thing that we love. That's making a difference.
I will
That's
let-
real leadership.
I will see them tomorrow and I'll let them know.
Thank you.
I'll try to speak at this time.
Taylor Dewey, Taylor Dewey, this is on
Yeah.
Walker Road. Can I ask you questions or is it just comment? Okay.
Comments on.
Okay, so I'm just following up about the last meeting. When I was here, I was warning you that you were risking violating your own purchase and procurement policy. Then I had to leave. And when I got home, I saw that it passed unanimously with no consideration of the purchase and procurement policy. So my follow-up question, which I won't ask, was just kind of what your thought process was on that and how you landed on doing that. Then my other comment is, after I gave my speech, I had a lot of people reach out to me, and one was from the tribe. And they said that the chairwoman at the tribe did not know that what was going on at the museum, wasn't approached, which I would say a large organization like the tribe, a lot of people have different opinions and can weigh in on it, but they have elected someone and they weren't aware. So I just want to let city council know, kind of follow up on my comments last week. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Karen Ockfield, West Travis Township. It's a small process suggestion, because process is always good. I think process makes everyone's job easier, council staff, future boards, and especially our new city manager once he gets involved. During the last DDA meeting, I asked at the meetings with Beckett and Rader and the enhancement subcommittee that is leading the project be allowed to be Zoomed. And they said yes. Thank you. And that's a positive step, but it was finally made that not to record or otherwise memorialize those meetings. So I think that decision maybe could create a gap for future council members, staff, the next city manager. So I'd like to ask the mayor and the council members if we could ask that we Zoom and record these important meetings about the downtown. Thank you.
Anyone else? We have a agenda motion.
I move to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda approved as presented. Now, when we get to the consent agenda, Mayor, I do have a plethora of issues with the minutes that I will correct. So I would ask you to put the minutes for approval on the next meeting agenda till I can get them.
Redo the February 2nd.
Yeah, just clean them up and I'll send them out with the next packet. We'll approve February 2nd, February 16th at the next meeting. If that's okay.
Yeah.
They're done.
So I'd entertain a motion to approve everything but that. Yes.
Sure. I'll move we undo what we just did and approve the consent agenda with and include the February 2nd minutes.
And just a quick summary on that, 3C. There's two different things there. One is our approval for MPPA and the other one is to give me, we don't have anybody authorized at the current time to sign that agreement. So the other one is a resolution to give me the authority to do that.
I will second these motions.
So just to be clear, we're not actually approving that, we're just giving you the authorization to sign it?
No, it's both.
Oh, because it's 1.6 million.
It's through the MPPA in order for them to purchase our power.
I understand
Yeah.
that, but still, it's 1.6 million dollars that we're waiving even talking about.
So if you,
It's not an expenditure that's guaranteed. So we spend approximately $3.7 million a year on energy. So what they'll do is they'll buy a block of energy off the open market. This happens to be 1.6 million, whether we spend it or not, or they come back with something that's a lesser price, which is the hopes of everyone. This is not authorizing us to spend that money. It's authorizing us to have them go out there and try to lock that in. It's basically hedging our bets.
that's who we've contracted with in order to do that. Correct, Nick?
Yes, and this is what they do for us and 22 other units in the state of Michigan, but it's not authorizing a $1.6 million expenditure at this point.
Okay.
Thank you. Other questions? I have a motion and a second, and I'll call a roll. Kathy Macho,
Yes.
Jamie Melky.
Yes.
Jeannie Benjamin,
Yes.
Bunny Reed,
Yes.
Tom Graham. Motion carried.
All right, we'll move on to the discussion items. 4A, Bob Kalsevsky from the cemetery provides us a annual update, and he is here to provide us that update. I try not to slaughter his name. He does a great job up there. The cemetery is a fabulous place. But because I border right up to it, so I have appreciation for it.
Big Bob.
Thanks, Kyle. I'm Mayor Graham, members of City Council, Mr. Reamer, my friend Nick Whitaker. I represent the City of Harbor Springs on the Lakeview Cemetery Board of Directors. I sit on the board with Bob Sanford from West Traverse Township, who's the secretary, does an unbelievably fantastic job of keeping things going. And Nick Whitaker has been appointed from Little Traverse Township, and I serve at the pleasure of the mayor in Harbor Springs, I think in perpetuity. So cemetery's doing well. I'm a little late in this because all the brouhaha was going on. Just didn't like it. We, in the year 24, had 3 FTEs because John Weber is retiring in December. So we brought on a gentleman, we hired a man named Gunnar Brainerd from Keller. So he's got an extensive background. He worked with John Weber, Sexton, and John Peters, our yard person for the year. And he's been in charge, and I can tell you he's doing a fantastic job. Our fund balance at the end of 24 was $314,000. We budget kind of over in terms of expenditures, and we came in over what we thought we would have in the way of revenues of $18,000. We in way of expenditures, we came in under $47,000. So the people, John Weber and 24 and Gunnar have done just an amazing job. We've got great equipment. They take good care of it. They keep it up. So there's been nothing really significant up there. And I'm going to throw a little bit of 25 into that. I don't usually make this report until after we receive the audit and I present it to the board, and then I bring it to the city. But 25, you know, we had the stunning ice storm, which cost us about $140,000. We had some good investments that covered that. We redid the fence, which is being done on our agenda is to work on both entrances. We keep it open and keep it plowed during the winter because people like to walk their pets through there and maybe just walk through there and think about their loved ones. But cemetery's in good shape, our staff's doing well, equipment's great. And I enjoy representing Harbor Springs on the cemetery board. Any questions? All right.
Thank you, Bob.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
thanks,
very much.
Bob.
All right, later.
Have a good day.
Thanks.
Next up, at the February 9th, 2026, Harbor Springs Public Schools, they appointed Dr. Scott Korpak to be our full-time superintendent. He was previously the interim. He stepped up and has done a fabulous job, and I'll say that because he's my wife's boss. But she's very critical, just like, she married me though. But she is very critical, and she has had nothing but great things to say about what Dr. Korpak has done. And I just felt that it would be, he's gonna be here for at least 2 years, and it would be good for all of us to meet him. We have a working relationship between the two, and to introduce him to the council, as well as he's gonna give us an update on the school. So thank you, Dr. Korpak, for being today.
Well, thank you for the invitation and for facilitating that. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. It's been an interesting journey. Actually, 18 years ago, this April, I interviewed to be the superintendent here, and I finished second. And then I went on to serve in a superintendent role in 2 other districts and assistant superintendent. And then in 2023, I'd been the superintendent in Northern Public Schools in Grand Rapids for 8 years. I was tired, and I thought I would find something else to do, even though I had a wonderful board. And I did something else for a while. I didn't like it, and had a chance to be the interim superintendent for Zeeland Public Schools last year for a period of time. And then in August, this opportunity came about, and I thought, well, I think that would be quite interesting 18 years later. And thankfully, the board gave me that opportunity. And so my focus was to be the interim. I was not going to and did not apply. I did not want to provide any type of interference or, issues for the board. But after the first round of interviews, they called me at 9:30 at night, and I thought Paul was going to ask me to do something for the second round. Instead, he asked about the potential of staying on, which I felt very honored and privileged to be able to do, because this is a really wonderful community and it's a really wonderful school district. And the commitment that I see in the staff for our students and for their well-being is quite incredible. And I have been around, and so you have something there. There's lots of things happening in the school. I'm just so impressed with the number of things that are in fine arts. Learned today about the 4th of July art fair that happens, that the school provides. We've got the amazing Performing Arts Center and Hannah Bianchi and all of those programs. The next one's coming up. Newsies, March 12th and 13th. I'm going to get your tickets soon for that. We've got students who are being successful. We had a student that was accepted into the Harley Competitive Saxophone Studio at Central Michigan University, and just really thrilled about that. We've been working, there was a new position, K-12 student advocate, Claire Bowerman, and she's been really doing some great work with our collaborative with the Little Traverse Bay and of Ottawa Indians. We have over 50 eligible students that have been identified for Title VI services. And for the first time, I think in years, we now have a Title VI parent board that was successfully elected in January. And really excited about the opportunities that provides us to work with those students. Of course, there's lots of things happening when it comes to bond projects, and that kind of seems to go on, but we are getting close to being finished, at least for the time being, and we're excited about that. Our Blackbird Educational Center, we recently hired Daniel Corcoran to be the director of that program there, and looking at, working with the Chamber of Commerce really to see what kind of childcare opportunities are here and if there's ways to expand those. Childcare seems to be and is, continues to be a challenge. And how could we potentially be a part of the answer to that, being one of the only childcare programs in the area. And I'm just, another piece of just to end on, and I think this is all about the people, it's all about the relationships, and the board this fall approved an employee assistance program. And that had not done before, but I think with the challenges that everyone faces, having an EAP in place and having the board have the foresight to do that, I think is really something that's very, very thoughtful. So I'm very pleased to be here, at least the next 2 years, living out my dream of 18 years ago. Any questions?
Thank you very much. And I'm hoping that, I'm glad to hear from you, and I'm hoping that if council would like feedback or conversation anytime, you'll be able to come back.
Absolutely, I'm glad to do that. Collaboration,
Great,
cooperation is it's what helps us all be successful. Nobody does it
fantastic.
alone.
That's great.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
Thank you, Dr. Cook. I just feel it's very important that we work together, and so when he was appointed as a permanent, I thought this was a good opportunity for him to come and speak with us. Put a name on the face. Next up is 4C Attorney G-Men and Shea Days. This is presented by the Historical Society. It's annual events. The Shea Days is an annual event. The Journey on G-Men, I feel is very beneficial to the Blessing of Fleet Week. It's just an event for on public property. Any questions?
How many canoes?
Hi, I'm Beth Blumgloss. I'm the program coordinator for the Historical Society. Usually it's just one GMON because that's what the spring program, the youth program has available. And so it can take about 12 people in it, and we partner with their program where they have dedicated captains to pilot the boat because it is a little bit tricky. So usually just one down at Joe Ford Park.
Are you providing life jackets?
They do. They provide the insurance, the life jackets, the paddles, the captain, the pilot, pretty much everything.
So even if you're an Olympic swimmer, you must wear a life jacket.
Yes, yeah, and we have a staff on site, usually me and usually volunteer as well as the natural resources department from the tribe, all making sure that whoever gets in that boat has a life jacket on. So
Is there a minimum age?
there's not. We've had as young as 4 or 5. The spring program's director Isaac and their pilot Dan Hinman have often brought their children along. And then we usually have at least one boat on the shore so that slightly younger children who would not do particularly well attempting to paddle a boat can still get up in a GMON and experience what it's like to be in one, feel it, touch it, just get a sense of the canoe itself.
This is the same.
Thank you for doing this. It's a beautiful boat and a great opportunity.
This is the same that you guys have done in past years. This is no change, correct?
No change, yeah, it's the same that we've done past years, so it'll be exactly the same.
Thanks.
A lot of times it's been put on the consent agenda, but a lot of these events we're putting back on instead of moving them. I just put them on here so we can take care of it.
Yeah, any other questions about Shea Days, Blessing and Fleet?
I move to approve both of these events on public property.
A second.
Kathy Mitchell,
Yes.
Tom Graham,
Yeah.
Wendy Reeve,
Yes.
Jamie Melky,
Yes.
Jeannie Benjamin.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Thank you for being here. So 4D Yoga in the Park, Windward Yoga LLC, doing business as Harbor Yoga, this is another annual thing. And they offer yoga at Shea, T. Jardine, and Zorn Park, depending on what time of year it is and what other events are going on.
I know it's very popular because when I drive down Main Street, when I'm working on Saturdays, there's a lot of people at Shade Park. And so Ally's here, I believe, if you have any questions, I provided all the documents, including the insurance waiver.
Can you put on the screen the application for the beach,
The beach,
one, the Zorn Park?
get there. Sorry.
That's okay.
Still Shade days.
You know, it's
page 26, if that helps you.
Let's Shay, you want Zorn, right?
mhm.
Yes, you are doing so be the last. What part of it would you like?
What were the dates on this?
Thanks, Alex.
Oh, sure.
I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm Ally Hill, I'm the owner of Harbor Yoga. Wednesday evenings are normally in the winter time, we have a Wednesday evening class, yoga studio. In the summer, that's less popular because everybody likes to be outside. So last year we did an experiment and offered that at Zorn Park. And the way we manage it is depending on who's at the park. We're either across the street by the fountain, or if it's quiet evening at the park, it might be in the grass next.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And it's a smaller group than the Saturday group. It's typically more like 10 to 20 people.
And you did you just do that occasionally last year, or did you do it every
No,
week?
we did it every Wednesday. We
Okay.
did have quite a bit of rain last year, so we had a bunch of last minute cancellations. A bunch, meaning like maybe 3 Saturdays that were rained out,
Okay,
maybe 2 Wednesday evenings that were rained out.
thanks.
Any other questions?
Where do the donations go? What are the donations?
The donations go to pay my teachers or to go into sort of a whatever. But you don't have to give a donation. There's no minimum donation. There's nobody policing donations. It's a completely voluntary thing. It ends up being really friends and house guests, teenagers, you know, so it's just, for me, it just kind of offsets the cost of doing that. Sometimes we give, you know, we usually do 1 donation a year, usually Regatta Weekend. I'll give the proceeds from the Saturday class to Little Traverse Sailors, because I've been very involved in the sailing community, so I usually do that at least once. Any other questions? Thanks.
Thanks for getting your help.
Sure.
I move to approve yoga in the park.
I'll second.
Things are right on it.
Mhm.
Tom Graham,
Sure.
Kelly Reeve,
Yes.
Jeannie Benjamin.
Yes.
Kathy Macho,
Yes,
and Jamie Melfi.
Yes.
Yoga in the park it is. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Well, I've been there every night.
Hey, Matt, you're as a.
Well, he's got extra time on his hands.
All right, we'll move on to 4E. At a prior city council meeting, city manager Zindanowski that the Surf Air Wireless wanted to attach dull fibers and attach it to our poles. At that time, city attorney Raymer contracted with Boone Pluggett. Thanks again for being here. In order to make sure that we were doing everything appropriately. And Mr. Raymer has done a fabulous job, in my opinion, of getting the ducks in a row so that we can proceed with this contract. As Victor has stated earlier, apparently we can't deny it. So the best move is to move forward with compliance. So are you prepared to answer any questions, Mr. Raymer? Yeah, yes, I am. And if you'd like me to just cover a little bit about this process.
Would you?
It's
Yes, please.
the permit that's being required is called a Metro Act permit. And the state of Michigan adopted this act called the Metro Act. And don't ask me what the acronym is, but it essentially allows the utility companies that have internet or wireless facilities to come into a community and get on existing poles. There's no way to stop it. The way they present it under the statute is a municipality has 45 days within which to either approve a Metro Act permit with an applicant, or the applicant gets a permit. So you were under the gun, if you will. So what we have done is the permit itself is relatively straightforward. There's not much room for latitude in negotiating, but we do have an extensive pole attachment agreement that was developed within the last, let's say, 7 years in conjunction with the city's engineers. And it is a part of this whole package. That has been negotiated. It's been agreed to by Surf Internet. And so we are now in a position where we think, at least I think, and I know the consultants that we engaged think that we have a pretty good agreement insofar as the city's control over this enterprise. The only part of it that's not currently agreed upon yet is how much the utility will pay to the city per pole attachment. And the amount is, I have asked the city's engineers to advise us what is the maximum rate we can charge legally, because it is controlled. I'm hopefully going to get that information here shortly. What I would say that the company has been cooperative. They have not tried to invoke the 45-day maximum permit or put any pressure on. They've worked with our consultants. They've worked with the city. They have been in contact with Dan Huey. I just give an anecdotal piece that I think Kyle told me about today, which was that there are several poles that the city has that are somewhat not in great condition. And it would be maybe a little too much load to put on with the new wiring that's going to be put on by this company. And they told Dan, well, don't worry about it. We will take care of getting a new pole in there. So I think they're going to be cooperative. Exactly what service is going to be offered through their fiber cable is a little unclear. I wouldn't be surprised if they get the thing built and then sell it to somebody. But the idea will ultimately be there will be an alternative source for internet within the city. And presumably that would be there would be some competition, and that would probably result in some lower prices for our residents. So in some ways it can be viewed as a good thing for the city. So we're now in a position where the city should take a position on this matter. Does it want to try to get what's been negotiated, or just let them do what they want? I recommend the former. And what I would propose is that, subject to your questions and input, and that ultimately you would authorize by motion Kyle to sign the permit, subject to agreement on the pole contract fee and agreement on what the cost of what's called the make ready charge would be for these for the installation of this. It would be overseen by the city. They have to work through the city's utility departments, and the city does get some compensation for it. So that's my presentation on the matter, and I'd be happy to entertain any questions. It seems silly to have to vote on something that's automatic. Well, it is, but we've been successful in getting some good provisions in it that will benefit the city, so I'd much rather take that than have them just jam something down our throats.
What's the term of, is there any wiggle room on the term of the agreement?
Well, it is 15 years.
Okay.
And it has 3 annual renewals of 5-year each. However, every 5 years, you can conduct an audit, and the opportunity is there to renegotiate some terms. If things are, if the city's incurring a lot of expense, we could renegotiate the full contact fee, for example.
Is that the full contact fee? Is that the pole attachment?
Yes, the
Same.
full attachment
Okay,
fee.
we're supposed to call it a full contact fee now.
Yes,
Got it.
it's kind of had to refer to 2 different terminologies.
Oh, okay, and if we are able to charge them more for this contact fee, and that's a per pole per year, as I understand, right?
Correct.
Are we, if we are able to can justify and feel comfortable with a higher rate than what we're charging currently to the cable company, we can do that? Is there any need to charge the same amount that we're charging now, even though that hasn't been renegotiated or changed in several years?
No, I think it is negotiable, subject to limits. The federal government has defined a way to determine what that fee is going to be. And it's based on exactly how they use the poles, for one thing. If they're using them for just fiber internet, there's a fee that would be in the range of what is currently being paid by the other cable provider. I'm just saying.
Okay.
But if it's used for wireless telephone service, for example, then a higher fee can be charged on a pole contact basis because there's more equipment and more usage of the pole. So there is some latitude there in terms of what we can charge. And I think the only way I can justify, or the only way I can recommend anything is to get some advice from our consultants, our engineering consultants who service a lot of municipalities in Western Michigan. We'll find out what they recommend we would charge. So that is forthcoming. And of course, if you did take action tonight to approve, as I would recommend, it would be the entire agreement is subject to coming back to you with this full contact fee amount and your approval of it.
Okay, and so would it be negotiable that whether that fee can change from one year to the next?
The fee is, it can change. It can change, and it may change. But so I'll do my best to try to get some latitude in terms of increases over time.
Do we currently have a count of the poles?
I do not, the polls that they are requesting.
Yes.
I don't have a count of those. I don't know if maybe the electric department does. That's something that I would bill if they said 222 polls at X amount, that we would bill, but I don't know that that's been solidified yet. Jim might know more, but
Okay.
I'm not sure what polls are doing or where they're even going or.
They presented a drawing which has pinpoints in it where they believe all the poles are, and they are numerous. There are lots of them. So, but I would want to talk to Dan, our electric department superintendent, about the actual number. I'm sure he knows.
They must have don't they put a number on each pole? Utilities, so they must know exactly how much.
I'm sure Dan knows exactly what we're dealing with. I don't.
Is there any way to enforce that they take care of their lines? I know that there are a lot of poles that have lines hanging down, touching the grass or just below that at this point. And I would just hate to see more poles with wires hanging down from them.
We do have some pretty strong maintenance provisions built into the agreement, that our pole attachment contract, and penalties for non-compliance. They have presented a bond, which is a nominal amount, but it's $10,000, signed by a surety that if they violate any of the provisions of our ordinance or any of our rules, that will be immediately compensated. They've also presented a liability policy, and the amount is a $1 million, $2 million policy, guaranteeing, for commercial liability insurance, protecting the city. So they've done their homework, and they've presented what they're obligated to under the act.
Do we know if this company is, I mean, has anybody heard of them? Are they out and about? Are they financially sound?
My understanding in talking to the consultants is that yes, they've been around, they're in the area. Nothing negative has produced. So that's all I know. I'm not endorsing them in any way, but so far, so good.
Any other questions?
Are we aware if they've worked in any other cities in the area?
No, although I believe they did. I believe they're in Boyne City, but that's just something that I heard along the way. I'm not positive about that, Wendy.
Maybe Kyle could reach out to Boyne City and ask them how that experience was. I'm wondering, it's probably too early to know this, but when are they planning to start?
Well, I would assume, they haven't really said, they're kind of waiting to see what happens here. But I would assume, in, late summer, fall, they're gonna come in. That would be my guess.
They don't have a plan as to where they're gonna start.
That I don't know, Wendy, no.
And how many teams they have and how big the teams are.
I can't tell you that.
A citizen asked me this, does this meeting require a public notice, and was this done?
No public notice is required.
Okay.
Yes, Karen.
Karen Hopkins, Houston Road. Does the city have any sway or say in which customers will get serviced? I assume it's obviously only City of Harbor Springs electric customers, but do you get to give them some direction on which are underserved and maybe that's where they should go?
Nothing in that regard. However, I will simply say that when I look at the map that they're of where they plan to be, it's entirely citywide and extending out into the townships where the city has electrical service. I think their plan is to be everywhere.
So is this also an agreement that they're gonna be working on with the other? Does that agreement with us include poles from our electric system that are in the townships?
They will have to get, Metro Act permits from West Traverse Township and Little Traverse Township.
Okay. So that means that there will be a contact fee for those, but I assume they would negotiate with those townships?
Well, we would still get they would not get a
Contact fee because they are our poles.
Right. But they have to use their public right of way.
Perfect,
So
okay,
they need permits from those townships.
thanks.
I did a quick Google search and it appears that they are working with Boyne City the same way they're working with us. I don't think that they provide services yet. And it also says internet as low as $60 a month.
I will reach out to Boyd City though, just to see where they're at.
Well done.
Yeah,
Motion from anybody?
Mr. Mayor, Maggie, thank you.
Thank you. Maggie Lacy, 315 East Third Street. So I did a little bit of homework as well, and that's what brought my attention up is that we have some major issues that we've been working with the enhancement meeting about Third Street and the power lines there. Third Street happens to be the main threshold for all of the electricity that goes out within the town. And I understand we're able to negotiate, but we already have 8 lines on those poles. And the last time that we did replace those poles, I thought that we were going to be, taking all of the lines a lot higher, but we just keep on, bringing them down. And so it's not very aesthetically pleasing, as well as the boxes that utility lines have, they're all broken, and we try to find individuals that can replace them. Nobody answers, and so when they say they have $10,000 to, and we have strict fines, we can't contact anybody to even follow through AT&T or Spectrum. And I would like to know if we are negotiating, we already have deals happening for the poles. Are we getting that same benefit from these other companies that we're working with? And if we are, is there a way to take those funds and start working as a plan to start burying the lines for our town? We have State Street down to Main Street we're planning to open up. We could have been working towards this if there's a way to pay for these lines to be buried in another source. I did see that there are grants, especially when you have an area like ours that you have risk for ice weather, which we did have, and we can show information about that. But I would like to, this is a relatively new company, they're out of Indiana. It's supposed to be for rural, low income. I think Harbor Springs is great because all of our poles are out. They don't have to do anything underground. But if we're going to negotiate, could we negotiate maybe just doing, from Judd Street to Main Street to burying it? Or, the other thing is we've been asking, the one question was, how many poles do we have in town? We don't know. Can somebody provide us with a digital map of all the lines, what they are, where they are, and so we can contact. So if we do decide to do a town plan to bury lines, somebody has paid for that we can actually utilize and execute. And I think it's time for us to move forward and do that process because everybody's asking for it. Petoskey, you can't move forward with any project without the lines being buried. So I believe that we're just behind the times. And if we have this opportunity, we're going to go down this road. We talk about night sky pollution. Well, what about line pollution? In this town, they're everywhere. And the poles are not being great. If you go to Glen Drive, those poles are looking a little ragged. So I just think that if we're going to do this, can we have a plan in place? Can we utilize the negotiation with some other companies? We have the capability. If you said every 5 years, I'm sure that AT&T and Spectrum are pretty up for negotiation, but we can't find anybody to contact. And we've been trying really hard on the enhancement of it. So I just would like to slow down and take a little bit of nuggets that we have learned from this and come up with a good plan to say, okay, we're happy to go forward with you because they have $11 million to do this. Can they give us a plan that maps out all of our, electrical? And that's a great opportunity for us. But then 2, if we can bury some lines, let's think about burying some lines. So that would just mean, I would like for you guys to think about that and just say an approval on this. It sounds like we don't know all of the information that we should have on that negotiation. Thank you.
I think in a lot of ways our hands are tied because if we don't approve this, they can do it anyway. And they don't have to follow any rules because they don't have to sign the contract that we're proposing. Correct?
It's true. That is true.
So I think that it is in the city's best interest to continue forward with what you propose.
I think if if we don't like this process, you need to talk to your legislators and in Michigan to get them to change the law, because
Understood.
that's the problem.
This is a state, the Metro Act is a state law, you said, not federal.
It is
Yeah.
a metro, it is a state.
I move. Go ahead.
So if, we could add, the question of bearing any lines, what would then be their procedure? Would they be involved in paying for, helping to pay for that or not?
Yes.
So maybe we could add that as a condition.
That is.
I think that was already in there,
It is
wasn't
in
it?
there.
It's already in there.
I move to approve. Whatever this.
Subject to the two conditions.
Yeah, subject to the two conditions per Jim Raymer's request.
And those conditions.
Those conditions
are-
are that there would be agreement as to the poll, the annual poll contact fee that would be
Okay.
paid. And the standard ready to serve aspect of installation on the pole. There's a charge for that the city can propose, and they must agree to. So those two conditions.
Can we ask them to update us? This is kind of following up to Wendy's questions, like update us when they're planning to start all of this so that at least we know that they're gonna be here and
Absolutely,
moving in the process?
certainly asked that.
Okay.
I'll second the motion. So we can discuss it some more.
Yeah.
If you, oh, okay.
Was just wondering if we can't take this windfall and start a fund that we use this money to start burying lines.
Well, I would say that we would need to find out how much we're gonna gather from this. And then
And also how much like money all of this costs, like to already replace poles and whatnot, like there's a cost to that. That is why they have to pay us for.
I think it's a good idea. I just don't know how much I would, Nick and I were trying to find. Apparently this pole attachment has been kicked down the road for 20 some years, as far as a fee. And we were trying to find the documents today to support what we might have to charge them. And when I'm looking on what we have here, majority of the documents are from like 2004, 2006.
Mhm.
There's nothing been done for several years as far as what we charge. And so tomorrow, Patty's and we're gonna try to determine what we billed out for that in the past. And come up with some type of amount. We also need to look at the pinpoint from Surf Internet to see exactly how many poles we're gonna attach to and how much we can create from that revenue.
Is-
And I agree, Councilmember Reeves, that would be a good idea to try to. It's just, I know working on the phase 3 and 4, that is not cheap. Like
Yeah.
burying lines is not like a matter of 50,000. I mean, it's very expensive.
I think it's definitely worth the discussion once we have more information.
I do too. I believe I saw on the website for the budget that we've gotten, the revenue we've actually gotten the last few years is around $10,000.
That sounds right.
Okay, and do I understand that the attachment fee right now is just under $5?
$4.95 for instance, for charter. Charter is $4.95 per pole, and I wanna say it equates to about
Do we
$1,325
get
bucks.
different fees from from
So
AT&T?
if you have different types of lines, so we have pole attachments going both directions of the Great Lakes Energy. That's a much higher fee if you're hooking
Mhm.
400,000 watts or whatever it is to a pole as opposed to a coax cable.
Mhm.
The one question going back to burying the lines that I have learned over the years is this metro municipal, whatever it is, extension, transmission, they can, like Jim said, they can tap onto it regardless of what we come up, they're gonna do it.
Mhm.
The only thing that's going to prompt them to put them underground is if we as a utility say, we're going underground on Third Street, Lake Street, whatever we're doing, take it or leave it. You're either going underground with us or you figure it out on your own, but we're not having poles here.
Okay.
So that would prompt the underground of all of the stuff you see hanging down. But if, as long as there's a pole here and they can use it, unless we can negotiate an agreement that's acceptable, they're doing it anyway.
What I'm trying to understand though, and I'm sorry, is of the 10,000 that we get roughly a year now, is that who pays that? Charter?
Charter,
AT&T?
AT&T. A little bit from Great Lakes coming our way. We pay more to Great Lakes than they pay us. But yeah, I think that's it. I don't know that for a fact. I'd have to look. I don't have that
Okay,
info.
I
but
was just.
I know Charter and AT&T are the two non-electric payers.
Got it.
And so if we were to go underground, they would still have to pay us some kind of fee to use our underground?
That I don't know the answer to the question. If we don't have poles, I think if I remember talking to the electric department, when we put KV lines underground, take the poles out, they have the opportunity at that time, when we're doing a directional bore or an open dig to put the conduit in, to put their little skinny conduit in there.
Yeah.
I don't think they could be in the same tube.
Okay,
So here's your opportunity to do it. We're doing it now, get on board or figure it out.
So we would, if we provided that opportunity for them, then and we paid for it, then they would have to pay us back.
They would pay to do their own thing. That's my
Or they would
understanding.
pay- Okay,
So, and we work together with these people because they work with us. So if we're gonna do a directional board to put something underground, and you wanna jam a conduit through there or a line or whatever, they try to work together because we're all there in the same boat, but we're not footing the bill for what they're doing, no.
right. Oh, I understand that. I just didn't know if in lieu of, say, attachment fees going forward, if they would be paying us to bury their line. That's what I'm.
I can't imagine they would be paying us, but there's a price to put the conduit there.
Exactly,
And
yes.
it's a benefit to them to have their lines buried, because,
At that same time,
yeah,
Exactly.
because they don't have any choice.
yeah.
I understand. We have a motion and a second.
Yeah.
We do. Get a motion and a second. Jeannie Benjamin,
Yes.
Wendy Reeve,
Yes.
Tom Graham,
Yes.
Kathy Macho,
Yes.
Jamie Milky.
Yes.
Motion carried. Internet it is, folks.
And I just want to thank Mr. Raymond for his work because this is something that he's the expert at. I know you are. I appreciate the work that you've done on this.
More than the rest.
Yes.
Thank you.
We'll be back. Move on to 4F. A contract for IT services for City Hall. So in my memo, I put that for the past several years, we've hired individuals to do the IT work here. It started when I started. All I can go back to is when I started with Steve Timmons. Officer Timmons did it. And he worked with a gentleman named Andy Franks out of Traverse City. And then Mr. Franks passed away. Steve retired. And even at that time, I was contacting Victor and I talked about it, that we need to look at a company. This was 5-6 years ago. And then Bill stepped up to the plate basically just to help us out. And Bill wants to retire as well. And Bill's been very resourceful and helped me out as far as the problems we've had either with City Hall or over here. Last week sort of started this when we lost email. And it was all, that was as a result of that fiber connection that was supposed to be hooked up a long time ago, was never hooked up. And so they hooked it up, Charter removed the coax cable, from my understanding, and hooked up the fiber. Our IP addresses didn't sync. So in the meantime, we were without email for a week, which was, and you know how I put it in here, but as well as that was very troubling. When people were trying to send us bills and they were getting kicked back, and if to me, it was embarrassing. To be part of a city that we couldn't have email. That and about 4 days after Victor left, his computer crashed. And so that preempted that. At the police department, Victor allowed me to contract with a company called BC3 and sign a contract with them. And that was more to do with, we are required by lien in order to, we have to have a structure set up because of the information that we share back and forth, the sensitive information. So fast forwarding to where we are today, I feel that as a city, we need to have a company monitor and help us with our IT problems. Our servers are outdated, the computers need some updating, and we need somebody behind the scenes in order to take care to make sure, I'm not saying that we're not going to get hacked, that we're not going to get ransomware, but at least somebody better than, no offense to Bill, Bill's here part-time, but people in our city are trusting us to take care of their sensitive information. And that in and of itself, just taking care of what we have. And I know our server is in the CIP at the police department is in the budget for 2026 this year to get a new server. But I feel like we're outdated. And I know it's a lot of money, but I think that we need, the city as a whole needs to take the next step to making sure that it's basically an insurance policy to make sure that we're up to date and that we're doing the right thing. So that's that. So what I did is I reached out to, one company reached out to me. I reached out to 3 companies. Baytech is located here in Harbor Springs. It's an individual. He has one tech that works with them. I know him personally. My feeling on one individual is we've been down that road. I would like to hire a company so that if somebody passes away or something happens, or they move to a different job, or they decide to close, that there's somebody else within that structure that picks up the pieces and runs. Common Angle was brought to me actually by Mr. Raymer. He uses them at his business and he was very pleased with them. I reached out to their references, one being Bay Bluffs. And they were very, at least up there, had nothing but great things to say about Common Angle. They currently are at the Boyne City Police Department as well, so I know they do that government part of it, our part of it. Last time, Empiric Solutions located, Common Angle is located in Petoskey, and Empiric Solutions also located in Petoskey. They do all the work for CCE, the dispatch center. They do work as far as our in-car computers as well. They're very reliable. They're a good company. BC3 is who we currently contract with for the police department side of it. We chose them because of the price point. And at that time, I didn't know about Common Angle, but BC3 has done a very good job. But they have now gone a little bit larger, and their home base is out of South Carolina. When I looked at the problems that we had with the email and with me trying to get a hold of Charter and probably at least 100 phone calls and calling people in Texas and to sort of put this in perspective, we got email on Monday. On Wednesday night, I get a call from the woman who was going to make it right for us with Charter on Friday, the previous Friday. She called me and she says, I said, this is Kyle. And she says, how's things going? I said, it's good. We have email. And she said, you're with some township. And I said, no, I'm with Harbor Springs. Oh, like there was no communication, no touch reality there. The reason that I like either Empiric Solutions or Common Angle, and actually Common Angle does, and Jamie are here from them, is because if I have an issue, unlike Charter, when I had that problem with the email, I can go to Petoskey and I can grab him by the neck and I can say, we got issues here. And so that's why I'm leaning towards, or I would like to have Common Angle come, because actually I've been to their business, probably they placed a new computer in Victor's or my office. They put the new computer in there. They ordered it, they installed it. I was very pleased with how that went. And so if I have an issue, I feel like that I can go over there, I can knock on the door and I can hold them accountable for what's going on. And I was very, very frustrated. No offense to Charter, but they're a huge organization that I couldn't go wring somebody's neck, because after about the 5th day, like, no, I shouldn't say that, but I was very frustrated. I was embarrassed being a city. So that's sort of my spiel on that. My recommendation would be for Common Angle. I've reached out to Common Angle because I'm transparent. One of the complaints I heard was that they do a la carte like that. We'll contract with them, and then if we call them at 2 a.m. because the police department's a 24-hour operation, that we get an additional charge. I talked to Jamie last week. He assured me that the price you see is the price you get. The only thing additional would be is if we have servers, or let's say that we have a computer installed like what I just did at my office, it costs us $250. I get that. It's not part of a contract. But that was what they said. So I'll open up to questions.
I guess, I just wanted a little, the contracts were long. I did read them, but, this is a monthly service that we're being charged for, correct?
That's correct. It's,
That is not including any equipment or anything. This is simply what monitor, I guess I'd like more of an explanation.
it's
Is it
monitoring.
monitoring
I would
and
use,
maintenance?
I would use an analogy of monitoring, maintenance, cybersecurity. When you guys want to talk?
Yeah. Sure.
They're the computer guys. I'm not. They'll tell us what we're getting for our money.
Hello, everyone. I'm Doug Moore. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, there's just a little bit of feedback in the back of the room. So what that monthly charge encompasses is all the help desk support that the city and the police department could use, as well as a bunch of proactive cybersecurity services. It's no question that after healthcare, government is the biggest target for any kind of cybercrime. So our packages are, as a managed service provider, our approach is always going to be security first. So everything we do has security top of mind. And with that, modern defenses require modern offenses and vice versa. The condition that the city is in currently, there's a lot of vulnerabilities. There's a lot of aging equipment. To put things into perspective, the server is about circa 2011. So we have software that just is out of band. There's no option for updates. There's no option for updating it. So, and you're not alone. This is unfortunately a very common thing, especially with government, that our approach being primarily in healthcare and heavy compliant industries like law enforcement, like government, our approach has always been to fortify. So our package is more than just the support. It's the cybersecurity team that comes with it 24/7, as well as anything that any cars, that need any kind of support. Everything is included so that we try to take the approach as if we were your in-house IT, that if you needed anything, you wouldn't ask for a raise every time a help ticket came across the board. It would be just part of our de facto. That's the way we try to approach our partnership with the government.
Is the kind of software though that you're talking about, I mean, if, for example, on our server where the software you said some of it was outdated, that would still be the city's expense to replace the software, correct?
Sure. So the operating systems and such, yes.
Okay, so I guess my question is, so I don't mean to sound difficult, but we're paying you to tell us that our software is old, but we still have to buy new software.
What you're paying us to do is fortify your existing. So we have tools that harden your system so that they're layered, so that you're able to have a more modern defense to what you don't have currently. And then, so there's that proactive part of the cybersecurity aspect, the 24/7 monitoring, the incident response. So if anything were to happen from a cybersecurity standpoint, but also the day-to-day help desk. My printer doesn't work, I need a new application installed or something upgraded. The best way to separate what is and isn't included is if you need something brand new, let's say it's a brand new computer, getting it ready for production use, that is what we call professional services. There's a fixed fee to get something ready for that production. Once it's onboarded, then it's under your monthly fee for any of the help desk, any troubleshooting, just the day-to-day IT responsibilities, including maintenance. So not just waiting for the phone to ring, but there's also that proactive maintenance aside from the cybersecurity to keep your systems current, fresh, update.
So the city bought a new computer for the city manager. So the city's buying the computer. Are we paying then for the initial setup?
$250 I paid to have them. come over and install it, the setup.
And that's, okay, and that's, and then, and put any software on it?
Yep, getting it ready for production use. And then
Production use.
once it's ready for production, then it's part of your just monthly retainer.
Okay, thank you.
I'll give you an example of what happened with that computer, and this is not anything, no offense to Bill, might be on here. That computer had the death, I never heard it before, the blue screen of death. And I'd never heard that statement before, but it had it, and Bill tried to pull the information off that computer, because I was panicked. I mean, like, this is my life in that part of the job. And I took it over to Common Angle to have them, and they were able to pull all that information that we couldn't get off of it. They were able to pull that information off and put it on my new computer. And so my goal would be is whomever we hire to have them come in, and they've done it. I know Empiric did it, come in and look at each device and give us a replacement schedule that this one will probably last you. I mean, we know we could probably go, we were fortunate enough, I would say, blessed at our police department. We went through last year in the CIP and we replaced every computer, and it's been huge. I mean, the guys everything works. Periodically we have hiccups, and the thing I'll say, whether it's VC3 or Common Angle, you'll see those updates come in your computer. Like they're like all of a sudden someday it'll say VC3 suggests an update you want to do. Now they're working on the back end because you see those updates coming that if we don't get over here because we're not proactive. So my goal would be if whoever we hire, hopefully Common Angle, that they come in, they look at every computer, they look at the servers, they say, okay, this is critical. We need to work at this first. This can get you by 3 years, this can get you by 5 years, but have a replacement schedule for whomever, the city manager, or I'll be gone, like gone, but to have something in place so that we're not where we are today.
And I understand that. I guess I'm trying to understand what the monthly chart, I mean, is that initial analysis then?
It'd be like it's
Is
by.
that something we're also paying for separately? I'm just want to
No, these are great
understand.
questions, and I welcome all questions. So in order for us to be successful, we onboard our tools that help with the monitoring, the maintenance, and those same tools help us generate an inventory of your assets. So from like a lifecycle management standpoint, we're able to prioritize what needs to be refreshed, even possibly shuffle machines around. If user A is less of a power user but has a really nice machine, and user B is a power user but doesn't have a quality machine, it also gives us that insight to be able to make decisions, informed decisions with good data around what a typical replacement cycle is, which is about 5 years for anything that plugs in.
And I think I understand what you're saying, but it still didn't answer my question, which is that initial analysis. How is that paid for under the contract?
It is, and the
Yeah.
ongoing, yeah, sure, and as well as any ongoing consulting. So as business landscapes change, like look at COVID, when remote workforce became an overnight thing, part of that consultation, just like you would lean on an in-house person, is the same Common Angle. You have that resource to, from a strategy standpoint, from any kind of goals or just general asset documentation standpoint. All of that is part of the package.
Can I just say something too, because I mean, I live with this stuff, and what happens is in our office, they'll have a problem with Outlook. What's going on here? I can't get access to Jim's calendar. So you call Common Angle, somebody gets on, they fix it. That's part of what you pay for. They will, if you have a problem somewhere in your system where somebody's having difficulty, you call them and they fix it. And that's part of what you're paying for.
And I understand that. I'm looking at initially, we know we've probably got some outdated computers and outdated servers. So it seems to me there's going to be a ton on the front end. And that's why I was concerned about how the costs.
There's a $3,000 like initial fee that was in their contract. Then it's a monthly charge.
Okay.
They're gonna have, I would dare say, they're gonna come and say, you need to replace computers. That's when we come to you next year budget cycle. Maybe we try to squeeze something in this year, whatever we try to do, but we come to you next year budget cycle, like I did with a CIP, and I actually have it for the police department, the server this year. We come and say, okay, this is what we think we need, or this is not what we think, this is what we need. And at least we have a plan. Right now, I feel like we don't have a plan. And
I'm not questioning any of that. I'm just trying to understand. Because there's a lot of pieces and parts. You've got servers, and it's not just the servers are old, but the software is old. So seems to me there's quite a bit of. And this is your area of expertise, I know, but there's a whole lot going on in terms of pieces of equipment and where they go and how the software works. And you're focusing on cybersecurity, which I think is important, but I'm also just concerned about the daily function.
For sure, and that's how we started.
It's not just,
right,
no offense, but it's not just Kyle's email.
Right.
It's the electric department billing and all of those kinds.
like I said, but I feel like we entrust every resident of Harbor Springs with their data. And right now, I don't feel like we're holding it, we're protecting it. And that's where I feel, that's where I feel like a company, we need to move forward. And I know it's expensive, but I feel like it's an insurance policy that we're protecting everybody with somebody overseeing. Plus, we're gonna get up to date, we're gonna get a replacement schedule. I mean, I can go through them physically, but I'm not a computer guy, these guys are.
I also think just the benefit of having the professionals, I mean, you spent 12 hours, 1,000 hours, whatever you did to figure out how to fix the emails, whereas had they been able to help, it would have been potentially faster and you would have been able to spend your time doing your job instead of trying to solve these IT issues. I guess my only questions are, so the benefit of using Common Angle would be that they would take over both
What they
City Hall
offered
and
is,
police?
I'll explain, and if I'm incorrect, guys can correct me. They would take over, they reduced their rate for this first year. We have one more year left in our VC3 contract. They reduced their rate for that year so that we can continue to pay VC3. I'm not a contract breaker person. I feel like we sign that contract, we hold it. Des is offered to reduce it, but then we would continue the next 2 years, so 2029. It would be, he would have both places. And his analogy, or his example was, if VC3 does the police department, they do us, you got two, we have a shared server, someone's shared, you have two cooks in the same kitchen trying to make work. And I think that that's a good way to move forward with Common Angle. Like I said, VC3's done nothing against the police department. I understand what they said.
But it's also nice to have the local, which is kind of in our
Yes.
purchasing
Especially from that turnaround time.
policies as well.
Yeah, and the big thing, just to reiterate, was just the analogy absolutely holds, but from an accountability and liability standpoint, when you have two different competing firms, ultimately you guys would suffer at the end of the day by having who did it, all that time could be spent just working towards resolution. One, from a chain of custody, it's just one company, one neck to shake.
And would there be any initial fee once you take over the police department as well?
No, so everything that's been proposed is
the
includes day
$3,000,
one,
okay.
and that includes day one for both entities.
The only thing that we have over there, which I understand, if we have in the budget, that server, our computers are sitting good. This is a server. And I'll give you another, our email is server based and what they're proposing is cloud-based M365. And I had multiple calls today coming to me saying, we're old school here. That's why we lost email for a week. And if we go server or cloud-based, is that correct?
That's correct. You're not only future proofing, but from a continuity standpoint, you're reducing your risk. A lot less maintenance is involved, but in much greater uptime.
And this is a 3-year contract?
Answer question. Karen Charles Donnelly, 644 Ann Street. We've been customers of yours for a couple decades now, I'd say. You also host our website and our email. Now, does this include hosting the city website or is that separate?
This is separate. Currently, we use GLM to host our website. Maybe down the road, like I don't have the definite answer, but currently it's just for the IT services. GLM hosts the website. That'd be something I'd look at. I don't know. I actually, sorry to say, I don't know what we paid.
Yeah, and
Always done a really great job.
Baby steps.
Appreciate that.
Baby steps.
Yeah, and we have a very close working relationship with Gaslight Media anyway, so from a collaboration standpoint, this is friends and neighbors.
Just for my input for being here for a decade. If my Excel spreadsheets work, I'm happy. Email, I'm happy. I do know that I budget throughout all of our funds for replacement of computers. 20 years ago, I'm like, oh my God, 2 desktops, $25,000, blah, blah, blah. Now they're an expendable item. Let's just budget in here and there. Obviously, servers are a little different story. But to me, that price, if I can get my label maker to work, I'm good.
Yeah.
I ever see something come back and you write your own thing on there, nobody know where to send it.
I might have missed it, that you're the owner of the
I
company?
am a founder, yes.
Is this a one person company or are you a franchise or?
No,
a
I'm
nationwide,
solely
or-
my own. I have a team of about 27 here in Petoskey. I do have remote workers, 2 remote workers in the Grand Rapids and Southern Michigan area, but that's just from a geographic standpoint. Our specialty is in long-term like government care facilities like Lisa Ashley and Bay Bluffs. We handle 40%, nearly 40% of the MCFs that are in the state of Michigan. So from a strategy standpoint and turnaround time, we have a couple of remote workers to serve those areas, but the vast majority of us are here in Petoskey.
And then, I read in here that, where is it? I lost it. The Department of Public Works is not included in this part of this proposal.
Right.
But that's a major security breach, isn't it?
My feeling is, we get this, we move forward from there. This building right here is what I'm concerned about right now. Our police department, obviously, we're covered there, but I wanna get this and then move up there. Those guys were their computers, Lucas's and Huey's. I don't believe there's a server up there, they link in here. And so I feel like if we have a good home base, then we can move from there once they examine what we need there.
And there's just those 2 computers.
There might be, the water department may have one.
They have standalone data on like an iPad or something to that effect. Anything that has access to the server, they remote in through here. So to say they're backing up DPW, no. But if they're keeping City Hall cleaned up, these guys are tied into here. You know, whether the computers take crap, I don't know. They can just get another one, but the data is stored here.
The one thing that I'll compliment Des about was that they have 20-some techs, like Bay Tech, I talked to Bay who owns it, and they have him and another person. Empiric has 4 or 5. BC3 I'm sure has several, but they're not close. And I've been over there multiple times in the last 2 weeks. They're probably tired of seeing me, but every time I walked in there, and I think Mr. Raymer and I talked to Kevin Spade, the chief at Boyne City, he's like, it's ridiculous. I called there and I asked a simple question. They're so nice. I said, it's only, and Mr. Raymer said the same thing. And every time I've been into their office, it's over at the Zip building. It's up on the 3rd floor. I go there. I'm welcomed by 2 nice receptionists. Jamie peeks his head around the corner. I mean, I'm seeing people. I'm talking to people. If I have an issue, I don't know if he's pretty good size, but but I'll go over there and they'll hear what actually, whoever the city manager is, they're gonna be held accountable.
So, I'm just a parrot right now, 'cause I don't know what I'm saying. What will it cost us to get everything in the cloud and the city will not be operating its own server?
That's a question.
No, and that's a great question. And a lot of that, the silver lining through our ice storm was so much of our infrastructure in Northern Michigan was upgraded in ways that were desperate for that change. So if there was ever a time to go server first or serverless cloud first, this would be the time. And that is actually something through the Microsoft 365 suggestion and recommendation as a next step towards moving to a serverless environment. So from a price standpoint, it's hard because our assessments, because of being under contract with BC3, we try to keep our hands off the keyboard. And from eyes distance. But that would be part of our assessment when we get going, even though understanding that there is a server budget for this year, that is already planning on being one of the considerations.
And what I would do on, in regards to that is, obviously, the two servers here are ancient. That when we get to that point, we do the price point as well as security, come to you and say, this is what it's gonna cost to do a cloud base, this is what it's gonna cost to replace two servers here, the server.
And knowing that BSNA isn't going anywhere here anytime soon, I know they have a cloud offering, but it's not talking to pull out the stack here. It's just not feasible at this time to even consider that. So there's going to be a need for the short future. Next 5 years, I would say, within the next 5 years, that potentially can move to a full serverless environment, but knowing that BSNA is the big one.
We actually have BSNA cloud.
What's that?
We actually are using BSNA cloud. We're the only municipality in Emmett County.
So I was under the impression that there's challenges, especially with GIS and that.
We're in conversations with BSNA.
Okay. So
The Emmett County clerk is not thrilled with it.
oh, for sure. And I understand that there's a ton of development being prioritized with BSNA's cloud product. So not being super familiar with that behind the scenes, there is the initiative that's obvious based on what they're developing for and what's lagging behind on the on-premise product. But knowing that, depending on how that plays out, there's still concerns, especially with the accounting software that we're, have to explore that's on-premise currently to see if that's even cloud ready. There's just a number of things that we have to do once we get on board to be able to make a solid recommendation.
Right.
Did I hear you say, Nick, that you're budgeting for this?
No, I always put within small tools and supplies. We always need a printer here and there. We need a laptop or a desktop or a keyboard or wireless mouse.
So this is no problem. You got it.
Well, I don't want to see $45,000 flip out right off the get-go on servers, but as far as if we need a desktop, yeah, we're.
But I think that the whole point of hiring them would be so that we have a plan in
Yes, I don't
place
even
and
know
we
what
can,
we need.
right, because nobody at the
Right.
city is actually
As far as the contract.
super
goes,
into IT,
No,
yeah,
I didn't see that coming. Do I think we need
Yeah.
it? 1,000%.
yeah.
So if you take, 30, 40 grand and spread it across 9 funds. Is it minimal? No, 40 grand is never minimal, but
Right.
it's.
And the
something-
luxury of having them would be, they're gonna come in and, like you said, move computers around so that we can get the most use out of all of our equipment.
And my label maker.
Your label maker. So I would move to approve of the city manager to sign the contract with Common Angle. Common Angle.
A second.
All right, Tom Graham,
Yes.
Wendy Reed,
Yes.
Kathy Macho,
Yes.
Jamie Melky.
Yes.
Jeannie Benjamin.
Yes.
Welcome aboard. Labels tomorrow, buddy.
I want to say thank you. This is a long time coming, and especially in today's society. And I was down at coffee the other day. One of the spouses worked for a major company, and they've been held, and I'm not saying it's not gonna happen, but ransomware, and they basically been shut down for 3 months. And it's like, at least I feel like we're protecting our citizens and we're providing a service. I know it's $30-some thousand, and I appreciate what the work does, and Jamie's, this is one of his workers back there, I don't know but they've been very helpful, and I just appreciate the help that you provided me. Number one, getting this city manager's computer, it was like that, and just the fact that they were willing to come here, so.
No, of course, thank you, everyone. Look forward to strengthening our relationships.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you guys for coming. And then, it's gonna take a while, just let me scroll through. So the last thing on the agenda, I was contacted. I was contacted by a couple of the donors that had pledged money for the boardwalk. And just like any other business, they budget. And they had reached out to Rachel and then I spoke with them that they want to know where we set as a city as far as replacement of the East Boardwalk. And I think it's only fair, I put my summary there, that we give them some type of explanation. I mean, we had it in the 2026, we put it to the 2027. I just don't wanna, I don't think it's fair if I was to own a business to have somebody say, oh, keep kicking the can down the road. And I'm not saying we need to make a decision tonight. I don't want this to go for an hours, but I do think that we need to have a discussion. Is this something that, and maybe this discussion goes in the paper and people starts to think, but, and I'll just update you with where we stand with what we have currently. So currently we have $64,332 in current donations. We have 27,000 in pledges. There's another $20,000 that's pledged once we break ground. And then there's $50,000 that's pledged once the city reaches $250,000. So my goal tonight, put this in the agenda, was just to get some dialogue. And I have to call these two donors back tomorrow. And I don't expect to have a concrete answer, but in the same sense. And Jamie's got some more.
Okay, so I did talk to one of the donors, not these donors, but a donor that has already committed money to this project. And he would really like to see this completed. And I think that this ties in with the last conversation, but he's willing to allow the city to use part of his donation to hire professional grant writers and or fundraisers to push this project forward, because I don't think that we have anybody, especially losing Rachel and not having a city manager that is here or has relationships in the community. I don't think that they are capable of raising the amount of money for this project. So if council is serious about this project, I think that we should take advantage of using this donated money to hire professionals to come up with a fundraising or grant plan for this project.
And I agree. I don't think it would be task on any city manager to go out and raise $500,000. I don't think that that's just the city manager's obligation.
So what is our, the potential funders that you talk to, what are they looking for from us when you call them tomorrow morning? Do they want us to commit that we're gonna do it?
I think with the information that Councilperson Melky just provided me, that at least we have, this is where we're moving forward. We're not just kicking it down the road at 2027, 2028. We actually are taking it serious. We spent $10,000 or whatever to try to find a fundraiser to move forward because we feel this is a priority. It's up to you guys whether you feel it's a priority or not. And if it is, then we take that money and we move forward with it and try to hire somebody to oversee this.
I feel it's a priority. What is about feel?
It's a hard I'm sorry.
No.
It's a hard, we have a lot of things that need to be worked on. If we could raise the funds and not spend a lot of what we spend $50,000 or $60,000 on the West Boardwalk.
I think I said we were done, yeah, $64,000 over, we raised 500 grand.
So if we could raise the 500 grand, and this is only one quote, was 619,000 for the East Boardwalk. That's just one quote, and maybe it's cheaper if we bid it out. If we could raise the majority of that through grants, donations, I think that it would do the city. We have a lot of things that the city needs to spend money on in the future. There's a lot of infrastructure issues that are going on, and I've talked to a lot of you. I mean, we got roof. We had a leak up here all the weekend. We had standing water in the upstairs. There's a lot of things that need to be taken care of. Glen Drive, there's a lot of streets that need to be repaired, so to spend, this is Kyle's opinion, to spend $300,000 of city money towards a boardwalk, I don't necessarily know if that's the right way to go. I'm not opposed to it, but I think if we can get donations to cover that and have a gentleman or a lady or a firm go out and collect those donations, that would be a good way to resolve it.
What about, I mean, what do we do about getting a better idea of what this total is gonna be? What the total cost is
I
gonna
don't
be?
think we're gonna know until it goes out to bid.
Is that something that it's too early to put a bid out for
Cups,
2027? I know what you're gonna refer to, but
I think that if we are serious about the project, that we should have Kyle look into fundraising professionals or grant writing professionals and bring us back some options at the next meeting and take advantage of the person that is willing to allow us to use their donation for this, because I don't think leaving it in the city's hands, we are going to be successful with raising even $250,000. Whereas if you were able to contact professionals, they would be able to provide us with a more realistic, is this something that they think is even doable?
is it, but I don't know, but would someone be in, I mean, how do you approach this when you don't have any idea what the target is?
Well, our target is 600.
yeah,
That we're gonna say?
I talked to John today, and I mean, he said this quote was from 2023. And he says that, I said, is that the same quote? He said that would be the same or ballpark quote he would turn in today. So at least we have a ballpark, $700,000.
And I think that in that quote, just to remove what's already existing is like $80,000. So I think the city has to be responsible for at least that portion of it, because we have to do something. We can't leave it to rot forever.
Yeah, it was $89,000 if we were to have it removed. That's what he's told me this morning.
So $90,000 to have it removed. We had committed to spending 100 on the last portion of the boardwalk. We only spent 65.
And we have commitments of roughly $141,000.
Like, if we want this to move forward, I think that that's the next step, is to have Kyle reach out to professionals.
Is this donor, I'm not on the board, obviously, but if this donor said, you know, take this portion of my money that I've pledged, find somebody to fundraise, grant write, whatever happens. If it doesn't come to fruition, is that money payable back to this donor?
I think that we would know more once we talk to the professionals.
And that question, Nick, was if the donor donates $10,000 to go seek a company, and
Yeah.
the company says, no, we can't do this. Is that,
Or, I mean, if we pay a company to come in and fundraise and they aren't able to raise the funds for whatever reason, I don't know that that person's gonna ask for the money back, but I think that that would be a conversation I'm not gonna have the conversation with
that's fine.
the donor, but you can have that conversation. I think that it's the best option we have to
It's
raise
something that's a starter.
500,000, and it will give us a taste of what they can provide to us for future projects, to know if it's worth it. without
Rachel did a
using dollars.
phenomenal job the last, but that was the West one was, I would say, the easier sell.
Yeah,
This is not an easy sell, not with the other things that are going on.
yeah,
And
not as easy, yeah,
what's that?
it's not as easy, yeah.
Right. So I think it's a good start, and I can call, at least I feel like I have an answer.
Yeah.
I'm not just saying, okay, we'll hopefully do it in 2027. I say, this is the stuff that we're doing right now. We're hiring somebody, we have commitment from an individual that I think that hopefully that will work.
Well, and I think that a lot of the pledges were somewhat low, because they didn't think that the city was serious about doing this, and I think that showing that we're serious would help.
Is that enough information for you to
I'll,
go ahead?
I'll call the donors back tomorrow, tell them what we have. I'll do some research and try to find some the new one for me,
Yeah. And bring it back to us next month,
hopefully.
if you can, yeah.
At least, I appreciate you allowing me to talk about today. Is another thing like IT services where it just gets kicked down the road, and like sooner or later, the city needs to make a decision. Sorry for the 5 of you with it, but we need to.
Okay. But I think that the conversation I had today wouldn't have happened had it not been on the agenda.
It has just been kicked to 2027.
It would have just been sitting there.
All right, I will take that information. Number one, I'll call the 2 donors back tomorrow, and then I will try to find some type of permit. I gotta do some work on that.
They're out there. I'll help.
All right, thank you. Well, first, are you all set with that?
I'm backing up.
You're loading up. All right. So we all set with that?
Yeah.
All right. So my city manager's report, I just have a few things to report on. I got an update from Ironwood on the marina. Everything's going well down there. So hopefully we'll be ready to roll this summer. Ice Fest was a huge success. The DDA did a great job with that. So I was very pleased with that. On your desk, and I sent it in the email, Bill Mulder reached out to Jeff and I in reference to this potential grant for rehabilitation of homes. I don't know if that's something that you want us, unfortunately, the deadline is March 2nd or March 4th. So it would be right after our meeting. If you want, I can put this on the agenda. I talked to Nick about a little bit, the recovery program for the utilities. We offered that, and we have one person who signed up. Maybe more people would sign up for this. I'm leaving it up to you 5 to make a decision. If this is something you want me to bring back, or you just want to say maybe next year.
I think if it doesn't hurt to apply, if we have the opportunity, like if we were awarded it, to not accept it once we look more into it, then I don't know that it hurts to apply.
Are you good with me?
I mean, we're not talking about anything that's any budgetary expense.
No, this is just a draft letter that actually I give Bill credit. He drafted with, I believe, just signature. All we need to do is submit a letter of interest by the deadline. It's not a commitment, but in order to start the process, we need to submit that letter.
I'm okay with it if other people are.
It smacks of the RC, I think.
Cause that was that's why I'm leaving it up to you guys, because when I saw this, Mr. Mayor, I was like thinking the same thing, like this, it's not related to the RRC at all, nothing. But
Reminds you of it though.
it does, I will say that, like, this is coming from council, I'm not responsible for
We
this.
talked about this.
What's that?
You and I talked. about
Yeah, we did, it's like this, and I don't wanna have that wrapped around
This
me.
is basically, the city is just like a conduit.
It's
not
similar
like-
to the utility recovery program.
Okay,
And if it's something that it doesn't hurt to send a letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if there are strings attached, we just say no.
Yeah.
Correct.
Walk away.
okay.
I don't want this to be a RRC issue, like,
Right.
Mr. Mayor, I agree 100%, I don't, that was. Yes,
Nobody wants strings.
no, so with your permission, I'll submit the letter. I'll get a hold of Bill, we'll get the letter submitted, if there's anything that smells wrong, I will come back to you and say we've next, all right? Good. All right. And
Boards and commissions.
I got one more thing. Sorry. So I sent the email from our recruiter, Frank Walsh, about his progress. And in this letter, there's 2 things we need to decide. Councilman Benjamin, she's leaving on a jet plane on March 2nd or
Third.
3rd, but she's got to leave early. Frank wants to narrow this down, have us go into closed session to discuss the candidates for the interview. is that something that we would set aside for maybe a different meeting prior to that, or wait for Councilmember Benjamin to get back to do it after the 11th? I'm just throwing it out, or do you want to proceed as is?
I don't think we can do it before because isn't the
The
deadline?
deadline's
That's
the 27th.
And he's gonna be in Florida. I think you saw an email, his children bought him a ticket to go to Florida. We can move it.
Could we have a special meeting earlier that day? Like at 5 o'clock to do the closed session
And I would be 100% good with that.
and then go into the regular meeting?
I think that we would probably need to schedule like 5 or 4 o'clock for that day, just because we're gonna have to go through all those candidates. We can do the closed session ahead of it. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
I mean, I think that that's the best option because I don't think it would make sense to have the closed session at the beginning of the meeting and kick all these people out in the hallway.
That's why I explained, we
Yeah.
talked about that. That's task, everybody go sit in the hall for an hour and a half is not fair.
So let's just be at 4 o'clock in closed session.
I think it's, I don't want to rearrange everybody's day.
I mean, I think that this is important enough
It's
that
okay with me.
I would rather do it earlier than be here till 11 o'clock and then you're driving into the night.
The only other option I thought was maybe do it like a couple weeks later, but that's.
I
I'm
think it's
good with that.
important.
I do it right before the regular meeting.
Let's plan on at 4 o'clock, and if we have time, we just, that way it allows us, we're not keeping people after, is that all right? We have a break, we have a break.
Thank you.
Does that work?
Okay.
So before o'clock, I'll get a hold of Frank, he'll get the candidates lined up for us, and then he'll be on Zoom, which is better for me as well, because I can just single him out, send him an invite, and then when we go to the regular council, I'll open up everything.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you.
Number 2 question on Frank was, another issue discussed on March 2nd, and I just would rather have the answer, is compensate out-of-state candidates for their travel expenses. I know, I'll just give them my 2 cents, if somebody wants to come here, the school just went through this as well. They had an individual from California, I believe, they did not pay the expenses for the individual to come, maybe for the first interview. Maybe if that individual wants to come, or we allow them to do it by Zoom, if one of our strong candidates out of town. My feeling is, this me, if somebody wants to work here, they come here, they pay it on their own time. If we ask them to come back, then maybe we think about it for the second interview, but that's just me.
I agree with that possibly.
I think that that's fine.
I'd like to see you put your interest into it.
Yeah.
But also you could Zoom it. And then if you're that sparkling of a candidate, we'd say, we'd like to see you here.
You like to see that individual put their,
I'd like to see them put forth the effort to get the job.
correct.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. That's what the school didn't pay a dime.
Yeah.
for it. The gentleman came from California, and I agree. Are we all good with that?
Yeah.
All right. That's all I have.
Boards and commissions.
No, I haven't been in interview.
I went to a Parks Board meeting last week. We went over the project matrix and in the project matrix, it has lots of small tasks, but lots of really big tasks. And we went around the room and rated them, how important they are. And we used that to plan out what we are going to do and kind of give the Parks Department goals. And then we are going to start the process of doing our Parks Master Plan this year. And so we discussed an outline as far as what we need to do and when, lots of surveys and all of public input and all of that stuff. And then Danny worked with Nick a little bit and was able to give us a little bit on the financing and how many projects we've done, how much money has been spent out of the city budget and how much in donations has been spent. And I believe, I don't have that with me, but I believe it was like $1 out of city tax dollars to every $29 donated for all of the projects that the Parks Department has done in the last couple of years. So that's really awesome. And I think that all of that will be presented to council next month.
We didn't have a meeting? I did not have a
I
meeting.
didn't either.
So just thanks for a number of things, for having these meetings at 6 o'clock. I think it's been very beneficial. And I think everything's going really well right now. So I appreciate you guys communicating with me as we move forward. The dialogue, I feel comfortable calling you all and asking you questions, so I appreciate that. And the meetings have gone pretty well. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you. You're the. Have a meeting?
We did, but I missed it because I had a client appointment, so Nick can.
I wasn't even there. I
Um,
was sick, so I was actually at the doctor.
The sewer authority limped along without us and I can assure you.
You know, business you want to talk about.
No.
The adjournment.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys, Gail, for done, Jamie, Dad, and Dr. Propak, thank you.
Give me time.
More communication.